Okay, so you want to talk about assault weapons? I'm going to show you an assault weapon. Okay? Let's see, shall we? So, this right here, you see that? Okay. This is off the charts. Do you see this number? This is at 14, 15. It's not supposed to go above 0.20. So anybody that's sitting outside, anywhere in this vicinity, which these people are right here, they're eating their food, getting radiated on. That's an assault weapon. You want to talk banning an assault weapon? Start banning those things that are radiating people to death every single day.
Radiation weapons have been massively deployed in our communities as part of the WEF extermination program. People think this radiation is safe and effective like the vaccines, and they cling to safe words like non-ionizing to comfort themselves. They cling to the indoctrination and the propaganda to comfort themselves, thinking that everything is okay, but there are tens of thousands of scientists warning about this technology, just like the vaccines. In fact, this technology is worse than the vaccines if you know what's happening. And knowing what's going on is basically part of the problem. Most people don't understand electromagnetism. They don't understand technology. They just understand it enough to use it to send messages and to use apps and the like. But they don't understand what this technology really is. It's a Trojan horse. It's been placed in our neighborhoods to make people sick. At first they rolled out the 5G, and then came the COVID. And there are countless studies linking radiation to cancers and other diseases. This, of course, is just incidental exposure to this type of radiation. But what we're learning now is that this radiation, this system of cell towers and the like, smart technology and the like, has been weaponized and is being used as a social credit score system. This technology all by itself is highly dangerous, but it becomes even more dangerous in its weaponized form, and that's the intent. Not only do they want to make people sick, but they want to take people out that essentially oppose the official narrative. They're not just silencing people online, they're making people disappear online to make people disappear in the real world, and that way nobody can hear them scream. And that way you don't even really know that they're missing, because people tend to forget rather quickly. If you don't hear from somebody for a while, it's like they were never there. And essentially this system knows that. And right now it's basically taking people out behind the scenes in a quiet purge of society. They're sanitizing the demographics to better replace us. It's not just the open borders and the like. They are actively targeting people with energy weapons throughout the Western world. If you're a conservative, a Christian, a pureblood, if you've been flagged on social media, you're on the red list. And that means you need to pay attention to the warning signs of this targeting program. If you've been experiencing pain not associated with an injury, recurring headaches, recurring back problems, you're being targeted by this system. If you've been experiencing chronic fatigue, heart palpitations, you're being targeted by this system. And you shouldn't feel bad, because they're basically targeting everything that's human. They're poisoning the food, the air, the water. They're spraying us like bugs as they terraform the planet. This is a major genocide program, a eugenics program. And essentially it's a war against humanity. And all those that basically try to resist end up getting hit with energy weapons. And so if you've been feeling off since the rollout of 5G, you're not alone. The vast majority of people are basically suffering in silence right now, trying to make the best of it. Most people have figured out that 5G is involved, but they don't really know what to do about it. If people actually knew how bad this radiation was and how bad this weapon system is, they would be freaking out and they would be acting like it's a war. And essentially it is a war. It's an asymmetric war. It's them versus us, and it's basically just them opening fire. And they're using silent weapons to get away with their crimes. These types of energy weapons don't leave bullet holes, they don't make gun sounds and the like. They basically blast you with invisible beams that nobody can hear or see. It's the perfect crime, and they hide behind plausible deniability to get away with their crime. Understanding what this technology really is of paramount importance to all of humanity, because this is the new social credit score system. This weapon system is being used to purge and kill and to control people. And it's a threat that's affecting millions of people around the world right now. The internet is full of people trying to tell you what's going on. And they're being tortured and they're screaming and nobody can help them. This is the nature of the problem that we're facing. Is we're dealing with a weapon system that hasn't been fully recognized, that nobody's talking about, that basically people are running away from because they don't want to be targeted for talking about it. But essentially everybody's being targeted right now. Running away from this, not talking about it, isn't helping anyone, and it's certainly not going to help yourself when your number comes up. This weapon system is definitely out there. It's definitely active, and not only is it irradiating everyone equally in terms of radiation exposure, but again, it is singling people out and targeting people without due process, killing people without a trial, executing people without a jury. This is happening right now to countless people. Many people have been killed already, and many more will be killed if nobody talks about what's going on. You may understand that there is a problem, but you may not understand what to do about the problem. And this is why we keep talking about this extermination program, because even at face value, this technology is not safe and effective. They call it non-ionizing, basically to bring your guard down. Oh, it's non-ionizing. There's nothing to worry about. But if you look at the white papers, if you understand what this radiation is, it's microwave radiation, the same radiation that's in your microwave oven. If you put raw chicken in the microwave, it's going to cook. That means that it causes damage to the tissue, and so it's not safe. They put restrictions in place to contain the levels of exposure. But the reason that they put restrictions in place is because this radiation is not safe. And there is no controlled exposure in the real world when you're surrounded by death towers and cell phones and the like. But of course it gets even worse when these things are actually beaming you, and they do. And so this radiation is not like water vapor. This radiation is not like a cool breeze on a summer day. That is not the nature of what this phenomenon is about. It is not safe. There's nothing safe about it. The whole idea of calling it safe is basically a marketing ploy. If they told you how dangerous this technology really was, nobody would buy it. And nobody would accept these death towers that surround us all. And so they have to call it safe to sell this Trojan horse to make this extermination program happen. And again, this isn't just us saying it. It's tens of thousands of doctors, and it's basically hiding in plain sight. At first they rolled out the 5G, and then everybody got sick. And many people died. There's no question that this radiation is not safe. There's no question that exposure to this type of radiation has consequences. And of course, it's even worse when they're targeting you. And if you're a Christian, a pureblood, or a conservative, you have approximately a 90% chance of being targeted right now based on our research and evaluations. You know for yourself if you've been feeling off since the rollout of 5G. And so what we're saying here is probably going to make a lot of sense to you based on the symptom profile that many people are experiencing right now. Again, pain not associated with an injury, chronic fatigue, heart palpitations, ringing in the ears, just to name a few of the classic 5G symptoms, 5G targeting symptoms. Again, this 5G system is all about beamforming, projecting microwave beams that literally hit people. They pretend like it's aiming for your phone, but basically these beams are wider than your phone. And if you're in between your phone and the cell tower, it's definitely beaming right through you. There's no avoiding the conclusions here that essentially this radiation is real, it's making people sick, and it's being used as a weapon system that's driven by artificial intelligence to take people out. All of the technology that you see around you was basically built and programmed by pedophiles and Satanists. And you're the greatest enemy that they have. They're not just silencing you online. They're not just censoring people. They're not just rigging elections. They're not just opening the borders. They're taking people out as part of their replacement extermination program. This is why we keep sounding the alarm on this issue. It's why we keep talking about this issue, because if people are going to survive, if humans are going to mount a resistance against this agenda, they basically need to prepare for next generation warfare, and they need to understand the physics of these weapons and how to best protect themselves from these weapons. And it's why we keep bringing people to this book, Transhuman Genocide, because it talks about not only the situation, the narrative, the scenario, the weapons, but also the solutions. How to make shielding, how to make armor. These weapons have been designed to be bunker busting. These weapons have been designed to go through aluminum foil and mylar like a hot knife through butter. Not understanding how to mitigate EMF radiation effectively will basically make you an easy target. That's why, once again, we recommend that everybody go check out this book, Transhuman Genocide. You can read a free sample, a couple chapters on Amazon, and check it out for yourself to see if it looks like the real deal, which it is. This book represents many years of research and field testing, and the solutions work. The problem is understanding the situation and having the time to put all of this stuff together, to make a safe room, to make EMF body armor or chest plates or a helmet to protect yourself from this climate change, heart attacks, strokes, and cancers. Again, many people have been victimized by this system, and many more people will be victimized by this system because they're not protecting themselves. Everybody should know, every conservative, every Christian, every pureblood should know that this system is out there hunting you like Skynet, following you wherever you go like cell phone coverage, mimicking symptoms of a disease to make you think that it's natural causes. This AI that's driving this weapon system is much more advanced than ChatGPT or OpenAI or anything that we've seen on the internet. It is beyond diabolical. All we can do is really talk about this issue and help people understand the nature of what we're up against. But the eugenics programs don't stop with the chemtrails. They don't stop with the vaccines. They don't stop with the fluoride or the pesticides or the GMOs. It's just the tip of the iceberg. The technology that we're up against is basically light years ahead of where it should be. And essentially it looks like they unleashed Skynet years ago and were quietly deploying energy weapons in smart city infrastructure while we were busy doom scrolling from one crisis to another. This system has been massively rolled out, and there's basically no escaping it. You can't outrun it. You can't hide from it. People have tried going from country to country, city to city, state to state. It basically follows them everywhere. The only real solution is basically to deploy EMF shielding, military grade EMF shielding. And you can't buy this stuff anywhere online. They don't want you to protect yourself. It's basically why they took the lead out of the paint and the like. And it's the same reason why they didn't want you to have ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or anything else. They don't want you to be able to protect yourself. They don't want you to know how to protect yourself. And so all we can do is talk about it. All we can do is raise awareness on the issue. At the end of the day, you have to make the decision whether or not you want to survive what's coming next. And many people will basically say they don't want to survive until they feel that death is on their doorstep. Once they feel that the hands are basically around their neck, strangling them, then they want to survive. But if it means like actually doing something, most people don't want to survive. They only want to survive when it's too late. And so, all we can do is talk about what's going on. All we can do is show you the evidence. And we've been doing numerous broadcasts on this subject, and we've been talking about victims. We've been talking about weapon systems, and so on and so forth. There's really no doubt that this is happening and that there's a purge happening right now. The question is, will you protect yourself? Will you protect the ones around you? Will you protect your pets? For example, you may not take the initiative for yourself, but perhaps you'll take the initiative for those around you. Pets are the first ones to respond to a safe room. That's where they'll go and hide because they can feel the radiation. And you can feel the radiation. Everybody can feel the radiation that's out there. And many people can even hear it. It goes up at night. There's just so much to talk about. That's why we basically put together this book. It's 500 plus pages. It would take us hours and hours and hours to go over the information each and every time. And so this book basically does it all in terms of informing you of what's happening and what needs to be done. We strongly recommend that you check out this book, that you share it with people that you know, that you tell people about what's going on. They're not just silencing you online. They're not just censoring people. They're not just rigging the elections. They're not just trying to replace you. Their plan is to exterminate you, specifically purebloods, Christians, and conservatives. This is the WEF agenda. This is the New World Order agenda. And it's all beast system related, and it's only going to get worse as they roll out cashless society, digital IDs, and the like. This social credit score system will become basically open knowledge. And if you don't comply, you'll basically be wiped out. The only way to survive is to understand the science behind electromagnetism and how to shield effectively against it. This book is probably the biggest project in that domain that anyone has ever seen. And you certainly won't be disappointed checking it out. And you certainly won't be disappointed when you see how effective these solutions are. We're not saying it's easy to make a safe room. It takes some work. Projects like this can basically take a year when it comes to shielding and armor and the like. But basically it's not going away, and it's only going to get worse. And eventually they're going to deny you food and work and everything else. And so if you can't protect yourself from these weapons, you're basically going to be erased from society. So we can't talk about this enough, especially in the context of all these people that are suffering and all these people that are being killed by these weapons as we speak. This isn't a joke. This isn't a drill. This isn't a test. This is really happening. This is our life now. This is the new normal that we find ourselves in until we take this system out. And nobody's going to be able to get that far without next generation shielding. This book shows you how. Transhuman Genocide. It's the ultimate guide to directed energy weapons, artificial intelligence, and EMF shielding. You can find it on Amazon or on Patreon. Be sure to check that out. Until the next time, if you're listening to this, you are the Resistance.